a graduate of Liberty University and Dallas Theological Seminary. He and wife Amy have been married 19 years, and they have 2 children, Corin and Carson. Please help me welcome Ted Cunningham.
How many of you want the band to come back out and play Living on Tulsa Time? If you cheer for them, I think they'll do that at the end here. So, and watching y'all walk in late, is that what they call Tulsa Time? Is that Tulsa? I'm just checking. I don't know. Hey, Mom, be quiet right now, all right? I said wait for me back there. Hey, anybody here from Branson, Missouri? There they are. All right. How many of you have been to Branson, Missouri? How many of you think eWomen should do an event in Branson, Missouri next year? Okay. You have spoken and we have listened. Next year, we'll put the date on the calendar. By 4 o'clock, you'll have a date. And pre-purchase tickets up there to your left on your way out. So, I love being in Tulsa. A lot of friends in Tulsa. I wish my wife was here with me. She's not. She's the queen of our home. I met her on a blind date at Liberty University. The night I met her, I looked at my buddy Austin. I said, I'm going to marry this woman. And he said, you can't decide that. I said, I already did. And I'll never forget walking into the kitchen of her 6'2", full-blooded Norwegian father. He's pretty much a Viking. You got to see this guy. I said, I'd like permission to marry your daughter. To which he responded in his thick Norwegian accent, "You betcha." I said, but only under one condition. I wanted to break all the rules. I had just graduated. Amy had 1 year left. I said, I'd like us to get married before her senior year, breaking all the rules. I said, if you allow me to do that, I'd also like permission to pay for her senior year of college. To which he said, "You betcha." So we got married at 22 and 21. I believe young marriage is more than possible, and the church has got to get back to promoting young people to get married, right? And all the single ladies. Anyway, I don't think we're promoting this enough. But I think we got married at 22 and 21, and guys will always come up to me at events, and they'll be like, bro, how did you afford to get married at 22 and 21 and pay for a senior year of college? I said it was this thing called a job. All the single ladies, you want to marry a man with a job. And if one job don't pay the bills, marry a man with 2 jobs. Yeah, so I mean, I get paid, and they'll push back on this. Bro, I can't afford to get married. I'm like, I'd believe that if you weren't holding a venti caramel macchiato in your right hand and an iPhone 8 in your left. You need to start thinking Folgers and flip phones, bro. Because you haven't started marriage right until you get your parents' hand-me-down mattress. Can I get an amen on that one? The dip already built in. You get in, you just roll to the center. That's a good marriage right there. You want to marry a man, we're starting with the singles. You want to marry a man, not only with a job, but a man who will treat you like a queen. Amen. Yes. And so, my daughter's here with me. I think my table's somewhere up in there. My daughter, she's now going to be 15 this year. But when she was 5 years old, she started taking over the home. It was the craziest thing. Amy and I would be having a great conversation, and Corinne would just kind of spin into the room. And then she'd look at us like, why are you all still talking? I'm here. Everything stops. Focus on me. Attention on me. This was wearing me out. I was done with it. So one morning, I put her up on the breakfast bar. I put my hand on her heart. When I put my hand on my children's hearts, it means what I'm about to share with you, I want to go deep into your heart. Because Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. I am one parent who I'm more consumed and concerned with the heart of my children than I am the behavior of my children. Yeah. Because all of their behavior, their words, and their action flows from their heart, so I want to be a dad who's constantly thinking about the messages being written on their hearts. So I said, Corinne May Cunningham, and this hand on the heart means, boy, I need you to listen because this is going to go with you the rest of your life. I said, there's only one queen in this house, and you ain't her. Every one of your daughters needs to hear that. She tells my wife the next day, there's room enough in this house for 2 queens. That's what we call the kid-centered home. And according to Genesis 2:24, it says, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two become one flesh. When we talk about that verse, most of the time we think about it in terms of marriage, and we forget the parenting implications in that passage. And the parenting implication is that your children are supposed to leave home. Genesis 2:24 says, for this reason a man leaves his father and mother. In other words, that text is teaching us the bond between a husband and wife is to be stronger than the bond between a parent and a child. About 9 of you are real enthusiastic with that point. Right there. Meaning not only are they supposed to leave, our primary job is to prepare them to leave. To be ready to leave. We've been teaching Genesis 2:24 to our kids for years, since they were about 5 and 7. You can ask my son Carson. He'll be 13 this year. What's your dad's definition of maturity according to Genesis 2:24? And Carson will go, I will not be with mom and dad forever, so plan accordingly. That's right. You need to go home today. Sit your kids down and tell them, we love you. You're a welcomed addition to this home, but you will never be the center of it. And then add to that, your mom and I, we love you. You're a welcomed addition to this home. Okay, but we got big plans after you leave. And they'll be like, well, what are you going to do? Well, first of all, we're going to Disney World. That's where we're going to kick this whole thing off. But at 5 years old is when Corinne really started to just dig in her heels and like, no, this is going to be about me. This home's going to center around me. It's going to be all about me. When Amy told me, she just said there's room enough in this house for 2 queens. Back on the breakfast bar she went. Hand back on the heart. I said, Corinne May, one day a little boy's going to say the words to you, I love you. And you need to know something. He's a liar. No, I didn't say that to my daughter. I don't want that going on. I said, he's of his father, the devil, and a child of darkness. No, I didn't say that. I said, Corinne, one day I'm going to stand at the back of a church with you, looking down the aisle at some pervert. No, I didn't say that. That's all. I'm going to tell you actually what I said. And this is true. With my hand on her heart, I said, Corinne May, you'll never be my queen. I said, but here's the good news. You're my princess. I said, and what that means is one day, okay, I've searched the scripture. There's nowhere in there. It's never going to happen that you're my queen. Never. I said, but one day I'm going to stand at the back of a church with you, and I'm not walking you down that aisle until I know he loves you as much as me. And because I'm going to walk an aisle with you and hand you over to become another man's queen. Now, telling this to your 5-year-old? Yeah, because I want it deep in her heart. I said, Corinne, here's part of my parenting plan. It's like at the top of the list. I said, I want you to know something. I said, I'm going to try to the best of my ability to show you every day how a queen should be treated. So you know what to look for. But again, I'm not walking you down that aisle until I know. I love when a mom comes up to me at a wedding and says, I don't feel like I'm losing a daughter today. I feel like I'm gaining a son. I say, nope, you're losing a daughter. And it's time for you to back away. Because it says, a man leaves his father and mother, is united to his wife, and the two become one flesh. We're really confused today in our culture about compatibility. We think compatibility is something you test for. It's something you discover. It's something you stumble into. And you may have chemistry and attraction, but compatibility, according to the scripture, is two becoming one. It's something you choose. It's a decision you make. It's not something that you wait for. It's not an outcome. I want my kids to really get that as well. I'm telling them all the time, please understand this. I don't care how you meet. You can meet on eHarmony.com, Match.com, FarmersOnly.com, Ancestry.com. I don't care how you meet. That's a Missouri joke. I shouldn't have brought that with me to Oklahoma. How you meet is not what I'm obsessed with and consumed with. It's what you do after you meet. It's pursuing traditional relationship formation milestones. I want my kids to know this message has just kind of crept into the church, and I really don't even know how long it's been here, but the message about marriage, sometimes maybe you've heard a sermon with this tone. Maybe you've heard these words spoken. But the message and the tone goes something like this. God gives you a spouse to beat you down and to suck the life out of you so you can be more like Jesus. And I know where the message comes from. I was just with him Thursday night. My dear friend Gary Thomas wrote a great marriage book called Sacred Marriage. And in it, it's a great book. I encourage you to get it. I encourage you to use this in small groups at church. I encourage you to use this as part of premarital counseling. But in it, he asked the question, what if God gave you your spouse to make you holy more than happy? People never even read the book. Some pastors didn't read the book. They took it out of the context of a question. They made it a statement, and they changed some of the words, and now you'll hear pastors say things like this. God gave you your spouse to make you holy, not happy. Not true. And I'm spending a lot of my energy going around the country to try to change that message. On Thursday, Gary spoke in the session right before me on sacred marriage, and then my session was called Enjoying Marriage. And several of the participants told us afterwards, your messages are very congruent. Because we've made holiness and happiness at war. And I know when Gary wrote that book, he said it was during a time when people were bailing on their marriage because I'm no longer happy with this person. So I'm just going to go find someone else. You're never going to find enjoying life in marriage. But you can choose it. You can make the decision. And what I love about you being here, and for some of you considering marriage, and some of you are like, it's not even on my radar. If you're single and never been married, research tells us you got about a 90% shot at walking down the aisle one day. So take notes. I always love when singles are like, I'll tune out for this part. No, you need this, because this isn't just for your marriage, it's also for the marriages all around you. Encouraging and equipping and supporting the marriages around you. Enjoying life in marriage is a decision you make. It's not an outcome. It's not a season in life. And so I just watch so many couples. If we just get these kids out of diapers, we'll enjoy that. If we just get these kids to school, if we just get these kids out of school, if we just get these kids out of our home, we're going to enjoy. No, it's a decision you can make right now with whatever season you're in your marriage. And I'm married to a strong woman. And we've been married actually 22 years. If you consider yourself a strong, brave, courageous, like a woman, would you raise your hand? Let's hear it. Let's see it. Yeah, you're here. Half of you are already fearless. The other half are learning to become fearless. But I'm married to a strong woman. And when I say the word strong, I'm not talking about personality. I'm just saying she's fearless as a mom. She's fearless as a wife. She loves this show on TV. Watch what happens when you even mention the show Fixer Upper. She loves that show. Passionate about it. And I got to tell you something. If I ever meet Chip Gaines, I'm going to punch him right in the face. I hate that man and everything he stands for. He is ruining my marriage. My wife's passionate about her home. How many of you are passionate about your home? My wife wants people leaving our home with this thought in their mind. I want them to know they matter to God and they matter to me. And then she's like, let's get ready for this party. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, here we go. And getting ready for a party, this is true. I can ask my wife before a party, hey, babe, anything I can do to get ready for the party? Oh, thank you, babe. Hey, would you lay ceramic tile in the kitchen for me? Oh. I was talking more like picking up centerpieces on the way home is really how I wanted. But she's passionate. And my wife and I, we are opposite. We couldn't be more opposite. I come home after she's watched a Fixer Upper, and and I know she has in her mind, man, Chip Gaines goes on this show, and he's cracking jokes and dancing around, and he's really enjoying it. I hate fixing things up. I can't stand little projects around the home. I don't like changing light bulbs. I mean, this stuff is like draining on me, and I'll come home from work, and she'll be standing there in the house, and I'll be like, hey, babe, what's going on? And she goes, hey, after dinner, why don't we move that wall right there? You have no idea the anxiety that comes upon me. When I said he's ruining our marriage, I'm not kidding. I mean, it's like the quality was going down until I went online and I found a term that saved our marriage. The term is load bearing. Every wall in our home is load bearing. And that I'm doing just for your husbands right now. We're opposites. My wife has 2 love languages. If you don't know what a love language is the way we give and receive love. Amy has 2 love languages, acts of service and quality time, which means I serve her for long periods of time. So different. Married 22 years, and I can tell you we're enjoying levels of marital satisfaction that I never dreamed possible. And a lot of it, I'm putting almost all of it on my wife because of her personality, man. She is a passionate woman. And we just made the decision years ago, we're going to enjoy life together. I believe the quality of your marriage, the quality of your relationships rest in the decisions you're willing to make. And for Amy, thanks, Mom. Mom's down here. I'm sorry. For Amy, she made this decision about 7, 8 years into our marriage. We were at that place where everything was just everything. Like everything. And I'm like, oh, this is, God gave you a spouse to beat you down, suck the life out of you so you can be more like Jesus. I said, this is the message that's being reinforced. I said, no, there's got to be a better way. And we came across and really started doing a study out of Ecclesiastes. If you haven't studied Ecclesiastes lately, I encourage you to dig into that book. The theme of that book is under the sun, like under the sun, here upon this earth. And it can be considered a dark, pessimistic book, but it's my personality. I love it. It just picks me up. These are the chapter bookends of Ecclesiastes. Chapter 1, life is hard. Chapter 12, then you die. These are the bookends of Ecclesiastes. But in the middle of this book has become our marriage mission statement. And it simply reads this in Ecclesiastes 9, 7 through 9. Again, in between, life is hard, then you die. The message of Ecclesiastes 9, 7 through 9 is this. Go eat your food with gladness and drink your sparkling cider with a joyful heart. I cleaned that up for my Baptist groups. Drink your wine with a joyful heart, for now God favors what you do. Always be clothed in white and always anoint your head with oil. It's speaking there of joy and festivity. What Solomon is developing there is life under the sun, here upon this earth. Yes, fear God, keep His commandments, but you can enjoy life, seek joy and festivity in the midst of the grind of life. Verse 9, I love verse 9 of Ecclesiastes 9:9. It's my marriage mission statement. It's what I travel the country encouraging couples to do. And it simply says this, endure life with your wife all your miserable days. Note takers right now just wrote that down, and I want you to write in parentheses next to that, misquote. Because that's not what it says. It doesn't say endure life with your wife all your miserable days. It doesn't say that. It says enjoy life with your wife all your meaningless days, for this is your lot in life and in your toilsome labor under the sun. I love the word toilsome there. It means grueling. It means painful. But it's speaking about your labor under the sun. It's not talking about your marriage. And the problem we have today in the church and in Christian marriages is that we've told people your marriage is the grind. It's part of the grind. No, God gave you your spouse to go through the grind with. Enjoy life with your spouse in the midst of the grind. You don't need to choose between life and a wife. You don't need to choose between life and a spouse. You can enjoy life together. And let me tell you, I don't know how you get through life if you don't make this decision in marriage. I sit there and couples that come in for counseling, I always see them and they're meeting with our marriage 911 counselors and mentors. And the problem is they turn one another into the grind of life, and they're no longer teammates, they're opponents. And everything's a fight. Everything's a fight. Our marriage got caught up in that 7 to 8 years in. But my wife, because she is, just passionate. And again, I can't stress enough how exercising. I would not exercise or eat like I do. Hello Fresh, right? That's our new thing. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for her. Because to take a casual stroll through the neighborhood, I'm just like, hey, let's just have a romantic walk. She's like, no, we gotta get to it. She'll ask me while we're walking, you squeezing your cheeks together? Amy! I know we're one, but the tenseness of my buttocks is none of your business. But that's just who she is. Come here, man, we're gonna do it. Let's go. You wanna go on a walk? Yeah, babe, let's go on a walk. I'll tell her. And she goes, and I'm thinking like 2 to 3 miles. How long you wanna go? Let's do 9 miles. 9 miles! But she was the one that took Ecclesiastes 9:9 and ran with it in our home. She ran with it. She said, you know what? We're not gonna let the grind of life, and when I say the grind of life, I'm talking about running errands. I'm talking about raising children, all the little things. Like everything was anything, because it was compounding in our home. She said, we're gonna enjoy everything that's irritating, frustrating, annoying, any pet peeve, you name it, we're gonna have fun with it. See, that's what I love a woman when she has strength, when she's fearless. That's what I'm like, all right, and here's what she said. She said, you pick it. You pick the issue we start with. Let's just start with one. This is secret. Don't take the whole history of your marriage and try to fix it on one date night. Start with one. And let me tell you where we started, and it just started to grow from there. I got to pick it. So maybe you go home after this and you ask your husband to pick it, and then you're going to show him how you're going to enjoy life with him. The thing that used to irritate you and maybe has irritated you for years, but now you're going to enjoy life together in the midst of the grind. So I told her, I said, hey babe, there's not a lot of adventure left for men in the world anymore. So would you please let me find my own parking space? I want to do it all by myself. I want to provide this for my family. And my wife, the strong one, says, you got it, game on. Because we used to pull into a parking lot, and it was just like, we didn't even say anything. She would just look at me with the eyes that said, you stubborn, stubborn man. And I'd look at her with the eyes that said, we're walking. I know you pointed out a space, 3 spaces from the door, but this 20 space from this is good, we're going with it. And we didn't, you get married a little while, you know what I'm talking